Hello YouTube, this is Mr. Shining Time. I want to make another video today. What inspired me to make this video is something I read last night, just surfing around on the internet. Now there's this guy on here who runs a men's rights activism blog, and basically the gist of his blog is to try to get men to be able to have confidence when it comes to dealing with women, and to prevent women, particularly Western women, from walking all over their male counterparts. This is a European guy. His name is Roosh, and he, I guess, travels all over Europe trying to sleep with European women, and he records his conquests in ebooks that he sells. Now, to be honest with you, I went on his blog. I've been going to his blog for a year or two now. I've been following what he does and his blog posts and the advice he gives, and he has some good advice. He gives good advice to men as far as dealing with women, being confident and expanding your horizons, basically. But then he posted something last night that, just reminded me that you really just can't trust anyone, no matter what. And you really just can't. You don't know what the fuck is really going on in people's heads. And the people who you think may be a certain way may harbor completely different feelings, or simply just ignorant altogether. And so he posted something last night about black men dating white women. So when I logged on to his site and I saw this blog post, I was interested. I was somewhat shocked because it was more in the realm of, it's not really in the realm of what he usually deals with. And so I read this blog post, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Lies, misinformation, typical American stereotypes about black men. It was crazy reading this thing. Now, mind you, this guy Roosh is not African American. He's Middle Eastern, and he doesn't even live in the United States right now. And not only that, he doesn't associate with black men. He doesn't have any black friends. He doesn't live in the black community. He doesn't have any kind of ties with African American peoples in this country. Of course, that makes him an expert to speak on the things going on in our community, particularly our relationships with white women. And he made this claim that most black women in America look like Monique rather than Rihanna, and therefore most black men are trying to get with white women, thus upsetting the white nationalists and white men who are having more competition from the black men trying to date white women. Now, I didn't post any response on this website because of this one post. I think I'm done following this dude. It just that what he wrote on there just pissed me off a lot, and it's typical of the type of misinformation that comes out of people in this country, particularly from non-African Americans. The lies, deception, and the shit that they put out there in the media about us all the fucking time. But I wanted to make a rebuttal to that post, and I wanted to respond to it here in in on my YouTube page, and perhaps maybe somebody else who visits that site will read it, his blog post, and respond to this video. But anyway, yeah, his claim is that most African American women look like Monique rather than Rihanna, and therefore black men want to date white women because of it. And he says that if more black women look like Rihanna, then he would move to dating black women. Now let's get one thing straight, and see, this is why I made those videos about separating the mixed people from African Americans, for this very reason. All right, because when you put these mixed people into the African American community, it causes confusion. It causes an identity crisis. People don't know who's who. Is African Americans supposed to be this, or is African Americans supposed to be this? When you have people classified as African American with European features, it causes confusion among the people who have African features. Rihanna is mixed. She's not even African American. She's mixed, but she gets lumped into the African American category somehow, and now it's causing confusion. Now everybody thinks that black women should look like that, or like Halle Berry, or like Jessica Alba, or Beyonce, right? Notice all the women that they throw out in the media are mixed women, and this is why it's important to keep those people in a separate category. And I've said this before, and people jump on me and talk about, well, they're all black. No, they are not. Just like you can't consider, just like the other side doesn't consider them in their group, don't put them with us. And addressing the other claim that most black women look like Monique, that is a flat out lie. It's a flat out lie. Obesity in America among African Americans is not at that point where the majority of black women look like Monique. That is simply not true. And that is his statement that the majority of black women look like Monique is a result of the American media, where you only see fat black women. Again, proving why we as a people need our own media controlled by us, so that we can put positive images of our own people out there. Now this video is more than just me addressing this post by this man. It's using a case in point. It's showing an example and showing why why there is an importance for us to build our own stuff, our own media. Because according to him, most black women in America look like Monique. But those are the only images that he sees. Those are the only African American women that he's ever encountered. So in his mind, most African American women must look like Monique or Gabby Sibiday. Now you see how images are so important, and how they shape the framework of not only ourselves, but of people outside of the community who have no kind of contact with African Americans. This is why it's important to prevent these big Hollywood studios from projecting negative images of African Americans overseas. The shit's connected. It's all connected. And we have to get serious about this, to take ourselves seriously and force other people to take us seriously. Now lastly, the point I want to address is this idea that black men are out here fighting and hunting, chasing down white women, which is not true. Again, not true. The majority of black men marry, date black women. And Willie Pete has addressed this plenty of times, and I have to agree. the paparazzis aren't jumping out of the bushes trying to take pictures of LeBron James and his wife. Paparazzi aren't jumping out of bushes trying to take pictures of Dwayne Wade and his wife, Chris Bosh and his wife, or any of the other African American basketball players that are dating or married to African American women. No, the paparazzi jump out and take pictures of who? Michael Jordan and his girl, Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, or any other NBA player that's dating a non-black woman. Kobe, before he got divorced, right? The paparazzis are constantly trying to get pictures of them. Never pictures of any black couples. And then they put these images out here and it makes it seem as if African men are hunting down and doing all this. It's not true. If people, you know, I've said this in other videos, you know, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but fuck it. If you go to the government website, I can't remember which one it was. I can't remember the name, which government agency keeps track of these numbers. But it's something like 95% of all African American weddings are weddings involving a person of an African American person is to another African American. In other words, 95% of the marriages among African Americans is to another African American. Only 5% marry outside. Interracial dating is the biggest. It's the largest among white males and Asian females. But yet, every time you turn around, they have a black man and a white woman plastered around on TV. And they make you think that there's some kind of huge, you know, epidemic going on, some kind of huge crisis or something like that. And this type of thinking shows in this guy's blog post. This false information that is put out there about our people. It's important for us to recognize these things and to build our own media, our own resources, so that we can control who we are and the images that are put out there about us. Now, mind you, this guy is Middle Eastern, but I guess in his mind, he considers himself European, and he's traveling all over Europe trying to bang every single European woman he can. But yet he is so focused on African American males and what we're doing here. You know, in this book I read recently, it's called Black Skin, White Mask. The author, Franz Faison, talks about, he's a French guy, he talks about the European obsession with the black male in a sort of sexual way. You know, when they would lynch black males back in the day, they would cut off their genitals. You know, it was always a violent sexual act against black males. That sexual obsession. And you see this still today, where the African American male is portrayed as just a big penis, basically. A sexual beast, an object that has to be controlled. And we're all running around here trying to knock down the door to get at the precious, angelic, you know, whatever. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway, I went long on this video. I didn't really want to. But, I mean, it's just a response to this guy's blog post. You know, if you don't read his blog post, if you do, you know, make a video response or comment. Thanks for listening.